Hi there, it's Kathy at One Sweet Shop. I'm going to do something a little different today. Do you remember all the little resin cookies I was making? Well, I've done quite a little batch of them now. I think I've done 3 batches in the mold the resin cookie mold. It was a really small mold. So I've done enough that I've stuck them down to this, just a piece of packaging. That's 2-way tape in there, and there's a reason why I'm doing this. There's the cupcakes. I'm going to be making some more of these cupcakes just because I want to have a whole tray just of cupcakes eventually. But what I decided to do today was to show you something else I kind of dabble in. And this is called Mold Maker. And that's the reason why I did so many pieces of the ones that I like, the small bunnies, the cupcakes, and the little biscuits. And it's because I want to mold my own mold so that I can do it with clay or I can do it with resin, but I'll get a whole bunch at one time just because I'm not into making 6 cookies at a time. So it's kind of crazy. But what I'm going to do is there's about 6 minutes working time with this. This is the second time I've used this. The last time I had made some Fimo little clay miniature toys, and I made them so that I could make molds of them from this, and then I'd be able to pour resin into them. And they actually turned out quite well. I made the little Fisher-Price phone. I made the little busy box. I made, I think it was a See and Say, the one where you flip the little lever. And I had molded those out of clay, and then I made them in molds so I could use them. And I also did indented Christmas ornaments, and I used these molds. And I just put the Christmas ornament in, poured the mold in, and when I pulled it out, I had the indents on either sides of the ornament, which I really, really liked. So I have to make more of those ornaments because I want to do like 50 at a time and make a mold for it. I don't want to do 1 or 2. So what I'm doing here is, this is the mold making. This is the mold making. I wonder if my volume is up. I forgot to check I pressed the volume and shut the camera off, so here I'm back again. So I'm going to mold these cookies. Now it says to it 1 by 1 volume, 68 minutes working time, 30 minutes demolding, and 24 hours cured. So I'm going to end up cutting this video and coming back tomorrow with it, just so that you can see when I unmold these. And it makes almost like a, oh boy, I'm going to make a mess here. Hang on. Let me get something to put this on. This lid. I had left this lid on so my mold maker wouldn't dry up. So what I'm going to do is, I hope, mold enough. I may have to make 2 batches or so here. What am I at? I'm at almost the 20 line there. Here's the other stuff. I'm really glad that these little cups here come with a measurement on them. Oh, I guess I should have found a container that's going to be big enough to hold all this, right? Yeah. Let me see. A little bit more. And these molds are orange, which maybe is not the most attractive color, but you know what? It works, and that's all it needs to do. I am going to find a disposable cup to use with this. So I will be right back. So I found one of my little reusable cups here, my disposable cups here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix these hardeners together. I'm not quite sure if this is going to be enough. I might actually have to make some more. Maybe I will mix a little bit. Well, I'll see how much this makes. So we're going to add this one in here. How much did that make in that? I was worried about really overflowing this cup, so I had cut this little water bottle open. And I thought, well, I could use this little water bottle if I needed to. But there's the part, what is this, part A or part B? This is part B. This is called the, whoops. This is called, just says Amazing Mold Maker. Face B, side B. I don't know. Okay, we're going to mix in number A with the B, and then we're going to start mixing it up. And if I don't have enough for this mold, then I can always mix just a little bit more and pour it over the top. And what I attach those cookies with is, and I don't know if it's going to cause me to have a chemical reaction. I sure hope not. But I took two-way carpet tape. And I put two-way carpet tape down. And then I put my little cookies the right way. And this mold maker should not stick to that. But I guess we'll see. It's not supposed to stick to resin. But we'll see if it does or not. And you have to mix it. This is very much like when you're making resin ornaments or whatever. You're mixing A with B and getting the bubbles out because there's going to be bubbles. And then pouring it into your mold. And hopefully your mold doesn't have bubbles on it. But I'm going to pour really, really, really gently and just see if I can get it to... Okay, I think that's really mixed now. Scrape the sides and the bottom. There we go. Now, I'm going to go like this, and I'm going to pop out some of those bubbles that are in there. I found that this is a really good system. I have something else, and it was for dipping your tools in to give them rubberized handles. I don't know if it's along the same line as this stuff. But let's start pouring and see what happens here. And I didn't need this mold to be really super, super, super deep because I just need it to cover about the biggest item in there were the cupcakes. And as long as I get a fairly even cover on them, I think they'll be okay. That pours so nice. Wow, this is going to be just, I think, almost the perfect amount. That's just crazy. So that's a good thing to remember. And when it comes out of here, it's going to come out of here very, very smooth. And so I might just use this mold again. Because I want to make one whole mold of just the little cupcakes. But if I can make 3 or 4 at a time and then fill them up, I'm going to do them out of Fimo. Or I might even try some out of hay clay. I have this stuff called hay clay, and it's like a little clay. So that's it. Now this mold is going to take a while. I can see my cupcake bottoms there. So I'm hoping this is going to be deep enough. I might have to put like a little felt bottom on here just to make sure I don't mess right through my little cupcakes there when I'm molding them. But I'm going to try. See the little bubbles? You can see all these little bubbles and they're just popping at the top of the surface there. I'll get rid of that. Let me move these. I'll wipe those out. I'm going to lift this up. And they're almost invisible, those little bubbles. But they're all popping. And this mold is actually, if you breathe on them, get a little bit of carbon dioxide on them, then they pop quite fast. So we're going to see how this mold turns out. And I'm going to take it out of the mold with you in a little while. It says completely dry in 24 hours, but it says you can demold in 30 minutes. I'm not sure I believe that, and I'm really not into ruining my mold. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it for a few hours because I really want all those bubbles out. And I'm going to tap this a bit. I can see all the bubbles coming to the surface there, and that's really super cool. A little bit of... And I'm sure hoping that they mold perfect because I found my 2 bottles of UV resin this morning when I was in my craft room here. I hunted them down and I found my resin light, my UV light. So I am going to make more of these cookies, but I'm going to use the UV resin so that I can have them right away and make another mold with just all cookies or all bunny rabbits or all cupcakes. And that's going to be fun. I'm going to be really happy to do that. Ooh, look at my little messes here. Here, I'll use that. Hang on, I'll get some more tissue here and wipe it out. I don't want to ruin my little measuring cups here because they're just so handy. So handy for measuring everything. But I really like the mold I made the first time when I was molding these. So I'm going to cut this video. We're going to come back again after this is all done, and we're going to demold that, or unmold, I guess they call it, unmolding. We're going to unmold that and see how it turned out, and hopefully it'll be a success. Otherwise, I've spent 2 days on tiny cookies and getting nowhere. So we'll see what happens. So you have a great couple hours here, and I'll see you back in a little while. Okay, bye-bye. Hi there, it's Kathy, and I'm back again. Now, I've let this little mold sit for a while. It's only been about, maybe it's been an hour, I think. And we're going to unmold it and see if it works. I'm crossing my fingers because I really don't know. I've never made one like this thin. But we'll try it. This mold here, this texture of it is very much like this one, where it's kind of stretchy and can move, whereas the silicone one is a little stiffer. So I think I prefer the silicone, but I do know that the silicone mold making stuff is quite expensive, so I don't think I'll be buying any of that. Now, because I used that 2-way tape down here, I'm not quite sure how hard this is going to be to get out. Whether it's going to come right off the little cookies I put there, or whether it's going to pull the tape up, which I doubt. Well, maybe it will. Maybe it will. Oops. Actually, here they come. Some of them are staying on the tape, and some of them are pulling off. But that's okay. Oh, and it looks like it's turning out fantastic. Look at that. Cross my fingers. Some of my little characters stayed on there, and some did not. So I'll have to, oh, this is a little bit sticky. I'm going to put them here just so I don't lose them. I'm going to use those in a box of cookies later. Paint the tops of them, and look at how nice that turned out. I'm going to have to trim. I'll take some really tiny fine scissors, and I'll have to trim around some of these little areas. Here's a little rabbit. Those rabbits were really important to me. I wanted to have, it's Easter Sunday, and I wanted to have some little tiny rabbits, and I'm going to decorate some cupcakes later today with them. Miniature cupcakes for the dollhouse. Yeah, the dolls will be celebrating some little bunny rabbit cupcakes. So, but look at how nice that turned out. Look at the detail inside the cookies. That's perfect. While I was waiting for this to actually set, I was downstairs and I brought out my Fimo and my little pasta machine, and I started to mold more cookies. And I'm molding them out of clay, and then I'm going to see if I can also use this type of mold. I made them a little bit deeper and a little bit thicker because I wanted my cookies to be, like, these are pretty shallow, these cookies. I want my cookies to be a little bit bigger and a little bit deeper, because if they turn out good enough, I'm going to make some like this, the little hearts, and turn them into little chocolates for Valentine's. So I have some ideas about what is going to happen with my molds after I make them. But I'm going to make another one today, And I'm going to do it all of cupcakes because I am making some little clay cupcakes right now and setting them so that I can use them in the same way that I did this one. I'll put them all on here, and I'll mold myself a whole strip like this of nothing but cupcakes, because not necessarily these big ones here turned out fantastic though, but I do want these tiny little ones. The little ones are my favorite, these right here. And I want to make a couple trays of those later on today. My daughter is going to come visit me, she said, and spend a day because I have a couple days off. And I'm going to have some fun while she's here. Maybe I can get her molding me some clay and stuff like that. Maybe we'll have some fun together. Listen to spooky stories and mold clay. So, but this turned out great. It looks like the cupcake molded areas are perfect. I'm going to take my tiny little scissors around everything after and make sure that all of these seams are perfect on here. Like I see I have a little bit of an old overlap there. Well, I can take tweezers to it too, it looks like, and just pull that off so that my biscuit molds are perfect. There's another biscuit one that's kind of embedded a little bit there. Mind you, this hasn't totally quite dried. It feels a little sticky on this area, but in 24 hours it'll be dry completely, and I'll be able to cut those little tiny areas off or pull them with a pair of tweezers or something. I'll try different little things. But this did not disappoint me. This is fantastic molding compound. I just love it, and I love when I can make small ones like this. Except that they pick up, like I have my son's cat, so they pick up hair and stuff now. And I'll have to find the best solution to clean them with. After I have everything, this cupcake here, I had iced it, and I thought, oh, I wonder if the icing is going to pull off. But it didn't. It worked out fine. It's another little cookie. I like that I could get this whole thing. Now I can just take my, even my clay, and go over this whole thing and just roll a sheet of clay over it and peel it back. And I'll have all these little patterns on it. And then I can just take an X-Acto knife and go around them. Whoops. That little bunny was hard to get out. And here's a couple. They look almost like those Playboy bunny things. But that's it. It's all apart. Where's my, I was going to look for my tweezers and pull back some of this mold. This did not take long at all. It's fantastic. I like how it turned out. It's maybe not the most perfect mold, but once I clean it up here, it's going to be great. I got all the size bunnies that I needed, and the little bears, the smallest little bears I wanted, and the smallest cupcakes. I've got 3 of those, and then 3 mediums, and then I've got cookies. So I've got 3 sets of each of the cookies, and that's perfect. So I'm going to mold another one of these, actually, and I'm going to make it with the clay. I did some green clay, and I made these cookies only a little bit deeper. And I'm going to try that because I want to have them a little bit deeper yet. This turned out fantastic. I'm so impressed. So that's how it's done. Look at me. They make it look so easy, right? Anyway, this is my first attempt at making these little miniature cookies and making the molds for them. I'm going to use clay next, and I'm going to do another video on how the clay ones turn out, and we're going to see if there's a difference and which one actually is better. Is the resin better? Is the clay better? So pop back in again when you see me molding again, and we'll see what happens. And you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.